I'd love for you to look them in the eyes, or perhaps take their hand and say, I like you just the way you are. Oh, welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. Hello, my name's Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist, and today I'm joined by my good friend, co-host, and producer of this program, Mr. Mike.
Good to be back with you again, Jim.
We often talk on this show about navigating uncertainty, navigating things in certainty in your life. And certainly, we've talked about the German concept of zeitgeist, the overall prevailing mood of a time. And it seems like the zeitgeist, the overwhelming prevailing mood of this time, seems to be uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
When we're looking for a rock, we're looking for some type of a foundation on which we can stand our feet and be certain that it's solid. And here we are in Pittsburgh. So one of the most consistent people in our lives in Pittsburgh was Fred Rogers.
Yes, a staple of this city for sure. We have a statue for him over there by, it will always be Heinz Field to me, where the Steelers play, looking out over the city, over the river.
Yes. And well, he was the host of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he was known for his gentle wisdom and encouragement, especially during times of uncertainty. And his words continue to offer comfort and guidance when faced with personal challenges or navigating a confusing political climate. We want to talk about several quotes on this podcast about Mr. Rogers, who I consider and could be classified as a Zen master, who looked at things with either they will or they won't, who was steady in times of uncertainty. So one of the things that he said, often when you think you're at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something else. What does that quote remind you of?
When one door closes, another one opens, perhaps?
It can, yes. And often this quote reminds us that change, although sometimes can be frightening, can also lead to new growth and opportunities. You and I have often talked about changing our perspective and looking at life as not a burden or an obstacle, but in looking at it as an opportunity.
Everything is a chance to do something new and different.
Every person you meet is a new opportunity. Every time you step out the door, every time you make a choice and a decision, you present yourself with new opportunities. Now, our job is to seek out these opportunities. We've often talked and we've overused the phrase that a ship in the harbor stays safe.
Yes.
But it never goes anywhere. In our own personal accomplishments, you've heard the phrase that a rising tide raises all ships. So what we want to do is elevate ourselves to level up. You're a video gamer.
A little bit, yes. I'm getting more into it this weekend, actually.
Yes. So we've spoken before on this program, but for people who may be just tuning in, and shame on you if you haven't, when we play video games, we gain experience points.
Right.
How do we gain experience points, Mike?
By striking out and doing actions in the game.
That's right. And when we gain enough experience points, what do?
We level up.
We level up. And when we level up in a video game, what can we expect?
Sometimes sparklies. Sometimes a big flashy update. But no, we get an upgrade in our abilities and our strength sometimes, or our resiliency a lot of times.
Can you translate that into real life and real time?
Yeah, because it makes you stronger to deal with certain situations. I always make the case of with video production, we learn from the things that with the experience, become stronger for it and be able to be more resilient to issues that come up.
Yes, absolutely. So changing your mindset, and remember, Words are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We always also talk about changing the way we speak to ourselves,
Right.
not the way that the world speaks to us, but the way we speak to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's important.
Right.
So, another one of Mr. Rogers' quotes for navigating uncertainty is that anything that's human is mentionable, and anything that is mentionable can be more manageable. When we talk about our feelings, they become less overwhelming, less upsetting, and less scary.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts about that quote from Mr. Rogers?
It feels like how we, you often say, identify and describe issues and feelings, right?
Yes. When we put things out in front of us, when we externalize our thoughts and feelings,
Mm-hmm.
then that gets us out of a fear-based way of thinking into an opportunistic, wise mind view of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And discussing our uncertainties and fears can help us cope and find support. We often assume that others know how we think and know how we feel and know what our needs are.
Mm-hmm.
And we get upset and frustrated when they don't.
Because I think for us perceptually, we have that screaming in our head all the time, all the time. And we don't know that others can't hear that and be offended that they can't hear it.
Well, at times when perhaps we see somebody who has some issues in their life and we see
Mm-hmm.
them talking to the street, talking to the sky, talking out loud, and we just think, oh, how disturbed that person might be.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing the same thing, except they're doing it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being able to express these thoughts and feelings to someone, being able to explain it, understand that we feel big feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And when we feel big feelings, we need to express them to others to know when they're out there, then we can look at them rather than from them. Oh, hi, Jim Ellermeyer back again from Fishing Without Bait. And as we offer and express transparency, this is a shameless plug for a book that we are selling. This is a 365-day calendar where we have a Zen type of picture to draw with a caption, and then we ask some thoughtful questions that people can answer, such as, what are your general thoughts about the quote? What is the morning thought in the morning? What is your evening thought? And what will you do tomorrow to spread kindness? Okay? And the beauty of this is that it's not numbered. You can pick any page out. It's not numbered. You can pick any day out and pick any quote out you want, or not. So what we're doing, we're asking people to use this as some type of a mindfulness activity to start their day. When we start our day, not trying to race through the day or with anxiety, but rather maybe some introspective self-talk, some internal validation. And what we're doing here is this. Also, what we'd like to do, we're going to be offering some Patreon material, maybe some behind the themes things, or some of the podcasts that we've done where we take a deeper dive, and we'd like to get your thoughts on that. What would you like to see? Are there any podcasts that we've done where you would like us to do a deeper dive? So you can please contact the show, and we'd be glad to explore that. And as always, we're looking for stories of recovery. Everybody's in recovery from something. We like to know how you got here from there. And please be good to yourself. And yes, this is a shameless plug. So another one of his quotes are, there are times when explanations, no matter how reasonable, just don't seem to help.
Mm.
We have to accept that. And it's okay to feel uncertain or confused. And sometimes simply acknowledging these feelings is important. You and I have talked about acceptance doesn't mean approval, but acceptance is always the prelude to change. In any type of situation, whether you're dealing with anxiety or depression, or perhaps you're dealing with substance abuse. Until you accept the fact that these issues are causing disruption and dysfunction in your life, there cannot be a change. When we accept them, then we can change. Then we can move forward. If someone doesn't accept that they have anxiety or depression or perhaps substance use, uh, can anyone point that out to them, Mike?
No, no.
In fact, when someone points it out, what usually happens?
A complete rejection of it.
Yes. Okay. So Mr. Rogers said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.
Mhm.
And if you can't find a helper, be a helper.
Right.
So, do you think people can look for helpers? There's always helpers.
Mhm. And I think there's, as far as, being the helper and you say, well, I don't know what I can do. I think you'll know when it's time for you to be a helper.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's when we listen compassionately
Mhm.
and empathetically to people,
Right.
to be a good listener. Quite often, we may not have the answers, but just validating someone's feelings can certainly be a help.
Right.
And even when the world seems so divided, Mike, there are always people working to make things better. So rather than railing against injustice and speaking to the choir, the people who already agree with you, my suggestion to everyone out there is to support the people who support your causes, who perhaps have a bigger platform than you do, and then give them encouragement and support, work with them, and perhaps give them some physical and or monetary aid. That's what we can do. So, and you rarely have time for everything you want in this life. So you need to make choices. And hopefully your choices can come from a deep sense of who you are. So when people say, what do you want? I want everything. Or people will generalize and they'll say, well, I want to be happy. I want peace.
But what's the path to that? What is the thing that's going to bring you the peace or the happiness? And if you can't identify that, then what are you even going towards?
So often as a therapist, what I ask people to do is say, tell me one thing that you are willing to do to make a positive change in your life. One small thing that you're willing to do. We've often talked about that pile of stones, and we're asked to move them. And we sit there and we say, how can I move that pile of stones? It's so large. And then one person walks past, grabs one stone, and walks away. And in 10 seconds, they've moved more of that mountain than we have maybe in 5 years. Because we look at things and our problems can pile up on us and become astonishingly difficult to solve. And that's the feeling of feeling overwhelmed. Have you ever felt that way, Mike?
Yes, yes, maybe in a lot of places lately, yes.
Okay. So, what matters most, and this is what Mr. Rogers says, what matters most is how we treat each other. He reminds us to focus on kindness and empathy regardless of external circumstances. Uh, there's a Buddhist thought that says if you have a choice between being right and being kind, choose being kind and you'll be right every time. There's a lot of meaning behind that other than just a simple Pollyannish statement, which most people view it as. Being kind is a choice. It means getting out of yourself and thinking more of others than you are of yourself. We live in a society that is so selfish and so self-centered. What's in it for me? Our friend Thomas Merton, the Trappist monk, uh, stated that most of the ills in the world come from three things: greed, lust, and self-love. So if we look at those things and we ask ourselves, am I being selfish or am I being self-centered? Am I being am I treating someone shamelessly? Am I treating someone with dishonesty? Am I engaged in selfish or dishonest behavior? We have to ask ourselves that. Because where does it lead us? If it leads us to, if your goal is money, I'll tell you this right now, there is no prize for being the richest person in a cemetery because no one cares at all. What they care about is the impression that you left on this world. So, Mr. Rogers said all of us at some time or another need help, whether we're giving or receiving help. Each one of us has something valuable to bring to this world. That's one of the things that connects us as neighbors. In our own way, each one of us is a giver and a receiver. So in this world, Mike, there's a spectrum of givers and there's takers. And I'm sure that you've met a lot of takers.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to ask ourselves, which end of the spectrum am I on? Am I a giver or am I a taker? You've heard the old adage, it's better to give than receive.
Right.
Yeah. So giving is not necessarily always monetary or something material. What are some of the things that you have given in your life or have you received in your life that have had the most meaningful impact on you?
I think in most cases, it is time and appreciation.
Time is one of the most valuable things
Mm-hmm.
that a human being can give to another. We've talked about many times about our most valuable asset is our time and how we choose to spend it. A kind word, a smile, being non-judgmental, being say, how can I be helpful? So the 12-step world, it says our purpose is to be of maximum use to the divine, the creator, and to our fellows. That's our purpose. Our purpose is to continue to do the next right thing, not to accumulate material wealth here on earth. One of the things that he says that's really impactful is there's no person in the whole world like you. And he says, I like you just the way you are. What an impactful statement that is. I like you just the way you are. Have you ever said that to anybody?
I probably should say that more to some people in my circle.
Well, you could.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody says, I need to do this, I need to do that, those self-defeating words, you could stop them in their tracks by saying, I like you just the way you are.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody would expect that. Yeah.
Most of the time, we try to give them suggestions on how to fix this. Oh, yeah, perhaps you could lose some weight. Oh, perhaps you could get a better haircut. Perhaps you could get a better job or this. Or you could just stop them immediately and say, I like you just the way you are. So that's quite a challenge. And that's a challenge that we're going to end this podcast with on. For a person who's having a tough time or having some uncertainty in their life or having some feelings of low self-worth or feeling that they have nothing to contribute to this world, I'd love for you to look them in the eyes or perhaps take their hand and say, I like you just the way you are. So at the end of every podcast, we offer a free prescription, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. If we're all not God's children, then none of us are, till all are free none are free. Please, stop the slaughter. Stop the slaughter of the innocents. Our hearts go out to everybody who's lost someone, in particular, parents who will never hold their children again. Till all are free, none are free. Be kind to yourself and be good to yourself. Namaste.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast.
If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.